But I do not think Angie Stone died in that car accident. I'm sorry. Like, I really don't want to make it seem like I'm diminishing her passing by turning into some type of conspiracy theory, because I promise you that's not the case. But why have we heard so many conflicting stories about her passing away, like the incident? Somebody said she was sitting on the side of the road as she was instructed to. Like, it's just so many different passing stories, and none of them really make sense as to, like, so what did the car accident have to do with it? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, and why was she the only one that passed away? And I'm, not wishing no harm on nobody else that was in the vehicle, but it just seems strange.
Your boy Albie Shore is really putting in the work right now, and he is keeping Angie Stone's name alive because he believes something ain't right about her death. I mean, there have been multiple stories about how she passed away, and some were saying that she died in a van, but others were suggesting that Angie made it out of the van just in time to be run over by an 18-wheeler truck. Now, Albie Shore always has had some strong opinions about the music industry, and he believes that it isn't a coincidence that she died just weeks after she called out UMG and her legal team at Arista Records for robbing her blind.
I'm tired of seeing people in this industry, especially black people, mistreated, misused, not paid. I'm tired of paying for funerals for people because they don't have the money to pay for the funeral. I'm tired of seeing 60, 70, 80-year-old women out on stage performing when they've been in the business with all these #1 hits. And I had one that said to me, well, one day I'll be a millionaire. And it had been in the business all of those years. That is heartbreaking for me.
And what's all of this talk about a sleeper agent within Angie's inner circle? And why is it that there is confusion in Angie's camp about who hired the driver and who booked the van? Y'all, this rabbit hole keeps getting deeper and deeper, and I hope y'all are seated and strapped in for this one. Now, y'all know Angie had been going live every now and again and spilling some secrets about how she survived the industry. And in the days following her passing, we realized that Angie was really laying down a foundation to take back everything that had been stolen from her. Y'all remember the Diesel team that Angie was talking about in her last video? You know, she put a team together, and they were the ones that found out she had no publishing under her name because she had left all the business side of her career to her legal and management team that was supposed to be looking out for her.
I got a team of people, a Diesel crew, that's really trying to help me navigate things. And if I never get it, at least you heard it from me, because I don't know what they might do to keep from paying me all the money they owe me. Okay? All the money they owe me. It's ridiculous that someone has played with my life and my career for this long, for their own benefit. I mean, have you no conscience? There's a special place in hell.
The head of this Diesel team is someone Angie had connected with in the industry called Stone Plaxton. And the thing is that Angie didn't start looking into her publishing and music deals until she ended up in the hospital after getting a blood infection from an infected needle at the hospital. When Angie originally reached out to Paxton, she was tired from touring. Angie didn't really enjoy being on the road as much anymore, but she had to make money to support her family. So she and Paxton came together to see if there was a way to get her a Las Vegas residency so that she could get her coin, not be so exhausted, and be safe. But after she fell ill and got discharged from the hospital, Angie realized that something was up, because there's no way that she should be breaking her back like this after making hit after hit throughout her entire career. The people that managed her and sampled her music were living very well and retired, so why wasn't she able to do so?
Through November, and Angie's going through different situations, so we're talking, there's things that she needed handled, and she didn't want to go on the road. She said, I don't want to go back on the road to have to financially take care of certain things. And I said, well, the sooner we're able to get a calculation of the songs and the value of everything, Ange, then we're able to get you a check, right? So Ange said, well, she said, I calculated and I'm owed about $50 million between here and overseas. This is what she said to me.
At that point, Angie changed her management and signed to TBC Group, making Vassal Binford her manager. and got them to start really following the paper trail. And imagine working so hard for 40 years, still traveling on the road at 63, only to realize that all your hard work was lining somebody else's pockets. Angie was in for a rude awakening. Y'all, it was hard for her to wrap her mind around the fact that she had no publishing to her name.
That day when Vasal called me, we had a meeting, we talked, and then the next day, I didn't hear from Vasal. Then he called me, I think the day after that. And he says, can you get Angie on the phone? And I said, yeah. And I said, what's wrong? And he explained some things to me. He says, not good. And I called Angie, I called Stoney, and I said, Stoney, I got Vasal on the phone. She, in her cheerful voice, hey, baby, how you doing, Vasal? Hey, so good to hear from you. And this is when he had to tell her, you have nothing. There's nothing there. There's no songs. Now, before he called her, he said to me, Stone, there's nothing there. And there's nothing there. We found nothing. Am I missing something? And I said, big brother, we're going to have to talk to her and see what's going on, because we just could not figure out why there was no publishing.
All of her mechanicals, royalties, and publishing from her 11 albums, totaling close to $50 million, was wrapped up in a web of secrecy and legal paperwork that Angie had nothing to do with. So she and her Diesel team started reaching out to folk in the industry and the legal team that represented her while she was still at UMG. According to Paxton, Angie recorded those conversations and kept everything neatly tucked away for the lawsuit she was about to file. And all the live streams Angie was doing wasn't solely about connecting with her fans and making money. She wanted her struggles out there to drum up some public support when her team had enough evidence to file a lawsuit against UMG.
I got a team of people, a Diesel crew, that's really trying to help me navigate things. And if I never get it, at least you heard it from me, because I don't know what they might do to keep from paying me all the money they owe me. Okay? All the money they owe me. It's ridiculous that someone has played with my life and my career.
And what do you think is happening now that Angie is gone? There's a whole lot of confusion about who gets to do what with Angie's legacy, and there's even more confusion about who hired the driver and the van for the trip. People on Angie's team are pointing fingers at each other, trying to shift the blame, and that's why we haven't heard much of anything from the others that were in the van with her.
The details started to unfold. And certain things didn't make sense to me even right then, even to her. She was saying to me, something don't make sense. She even told me that later on, I'll talk about that. But anyway, so she's telling me what happened, and I'm like, dang, that's just kind of crazy. And, this person got hurt. Everybody else is alive. Angie's gone. I said, damn, that's weird. I was like, it's kind of weird. I said, damn, Angie's the only person that passed away? Yeah. So she was like, yeah. She's like, and she was saying that stories didn't match, that one person was saying this, somebody said they had held Angie. The other person said they were the ones that held Angie, was like lifted her up or something like that, man. And I was like, well, what's the story? And she was just like, I don't know. She said, nobody know. First of all, she was saying everybody in the band didn't know anything. She said, well, they can't remember nothing. That's what she said. She said, well, nobody can remember anything. And I said, well, dang. I said, well, that's kind of strange. And the ones that did say something, the stories were conflicting with each other.
Angie really loved the people around her and always tried to see the best in anyone. Word is that this is what UMG was allegedly aiming for, and that there's a sleeper agent in Angie's team, close to her family, that's continuing to stir the drama, pitting people against each other, so that the lawsuit and investigation into Angie's legacy gets forgotten and just quietly goes away.
One thing about Angie was she would not share her private business with many people. She was very careful and calculated about sharing paperwork, sharing her privacy with how her life is going. She really didn't share the personal paperwork with people. You understand what I'm saying?
Now that I'll Be Sure has backed Paxton, he believes that Angie's death was a sacrifice to silence her and put a halt on the work that she was doing to hold the label accountable. He shared his last conversation with Angie and revealed that she started being suspicious of the hospital that she was going to for medical needs and really needed someone she could trust to take care of her. Like, what did she see that made her so concerned? But it didn't stop there. Angie called out the ratchetness and foolishness in the industry and was happy that people were finally waking up to see that the industry execs were as shady and diabolical as they come. And trust, I'll Be Sure, who faced similar situation, who passed away and obviously was revived, but this all happened when he started to expose the circumstances surrounding Kim Porter's suspicious death. And now he's out here saying that Angie's death and her autopsy report needs to be investigated because he's insisting that she warned him before her death. And the people who aren't close to this situation can see that there's more going on with Angie's death and are calling on the family to keep the lawsuit going. What makes Angie Stone's passing even more sad is that she was speaking out about the injustices in the music industry. And by sad, I mean super suspicious. The most messed up part in Angie Stone's tragic passing is that I know her streams are going to go crazy right now, and her family won't even see a penny of that money. It's all going to the people who she was trying to expose for stealing from her. Shaking my head. I don't think Angie Stone's passing was an accident. It happened days after she called out her label for taking her royalties. Highly suspicious.
For you dirtnecks that pretended to be so hurt by the loss of the great Angie Stone, but within 48 hours you found a way to profit off of her demise, unforgivable.
People keep saying that not everything is a conspiracy, but y'all, we're allowed to question this for once. It's just plain eerie. And with what I'll Be Sure and now Stone Paxton are saying, Angie was really going up against some people that didn't want to see her win. But do y'all think this is a reach? Share your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button because we're going to be covering everything about this story. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, baddies.